Hi, this is Steven at Classic Typewriter. I'm going to walk you through this Remington Rand, what they call a Model 1, a Noiseless Model 1, also affectionately referred to as the Noisy Noiseless. And you'll see why. Though it's not much louder than other typewriters, it's just louder than other noiseless typewriters. And I've seen this in a Monarch branding. I haven't seen this version in Underwood. A lot of them go Underwood and Remington back and forth pretty easily. Sometimes this tab key is red and sometimes it's black, so that's one of the few variations. Mostly these went pretty much unchanged. There's a 10 character per inch and a 12 character per inch typeface. You can tell because one goes up to 80 and the other one goes higher. The smaller typeface goes up to 90. Notice that this folds down like the Remington Deluxe. It's one of their signature handle styles for certain models. So let me walk you through a few of the features here. Like the other noiseless, you can push this in to relieve the ratcheting. Otherwise, it'll ratchet line by line. This backwards releases the rollers. Forward lets the rollers go. First thing you might notice is that the carriage is locked. So what you do to unlock it, like the other noiseless, you pull this out. And that'll release that switch, and then you're free to move. Here's the carriage release lever. There's one on either side here. Sometimes one or the other won't work because there's a tiny spring in there that often breaks, but we can generally get them both working. This has two paper supports. Notice that there's like a card. There's two holes here. There's usually a little, I don't know if you can see those holes. There's usually a little piece here that holds the paper to the plate in, but on this Model 1, there's just the holes for that. They didn't traditionally come with it. This is a black silk ribbon. Notice this nice little shaped ribbon spool cover handle. I like it. That's part of the beauty, just these angular designs. There's a rounded version of this that came a little later. It's the same basic shape, but it's like these edges. This is like a curved edge in general. This is the color selector of the ribbon. Of course, if there's just a black ribbon and now that won't work, although the middle one will not have any impression. And then black or red. The nice thing about using one color ribbon is that you can use the other half of the ribbon when you're done and you have like a whole new fresh ribbon. You notice the silk ribbon gives a very dark, lovely impression. That's why it's often chosen for these models. The tab keys you physically set in the back, they slide onto these slots. To access those, like the other noiseless, you're going to fold this down. This is a shorter support than the noiseless Model 7. So here's the tab key. And you just slide it in the slot where you want it. And the margin sets, left and right margin, you push the button down and you slide it over. You got to kind of wiggle it so it catches generally. This features the bell. Sometimes this little spring breaks as well. It's another one of those little wire springs. So if it's working, that's great. The Model 1, the serial number starts with a P. And this is the left side page guide. Smaller than on its Remington Noiseless 7 and other counterparts. Similar to the Noiseless Deluxe in size. Anything else? This releases the margins when you get to the end of the line if you want to type a few more characters. Because when you get to the end of the margin, it won't let you type. You see how it's blocking. And notice too, this arm with a hinge on it, that's what creates the noiseless mechanism. That's part of the design. That just catches the type slug before it hits the plate and quiets it up. Most typewriters are clack, 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 clack. This one is. See, the main sound is not at hitting this, but the other mechanisms. And then the tab, remember I showed you where the tab keys are. As you push this, it'll go to the next one. Backspace, self-explanatory, shift and shift lock look great. Just a few problems with these is that, well, often the rollers, the rear and front rollers often have flat spots, so it won't take paper. The feet are often crushed. I've put new feet on this, so that gives it a nice grip, firm impression. And like I said, a lot of times this bell spring is broken, so it won't ring. So it's hard to get these just untested. They usually don't work. For the basic mechanics work, but it won't take paper, so it's not that useful. Let's see what we got here. I took it off that spinner so I can actually type. I have a little wrist injury still, very lingering. Slowing down my typing on the left side. There's my little classic typewriter emboss. This type of paper is a little bit annoying because just the deckled edge will often catch on some of these middle parts. Once you get the hang of it, it's easier. So I'm going to I put in the paper. You generally put in the paper and then you set the margin, find where you want that margin to be. On a small page, I don't set the right margin because it'll be ding, ding I'll have to do the margin release every few lines, which is not that cool. So I just eyeball it when I'm in the small paper. You can hear the sound, right? That's louder than a noiseless. I had that on triple spacing. So I'm going to go back. This good. I gotta loosen that key. I will do that. Notice that this can keep up with most speed of typing. Same key. I missed one, so it's nice you can go back, put the G in there, non-digital. And I usually go to red for this part. It's already on the red. It slipped by the margin. Another thing that might need adjustment sometimes. A comma. Good. The reason that hand sometimes crossing over to hit these keys when I'm doing the shift is because there's a wrist injury. Normally you'd go like this. It just hurts. Oops, typo. So this is the very quintessential look of this typeface. You can get the letters almost perfectly even, but you see how some are darker. If you use a little more pressure, they're darker. So it takes a little bit of practice to get very perfect. When you start typing, yours will be much worse than this. I can get better when I use one of these regularly, which I'm not right now. And again, this is the silk ribbon. It's a little bit lighter print on a nylon ribbon, which is what most of them come with because it lasts longer and it doesn't clog up the type slugs as much. So that's nice. So cool, I have a note to fix that period, which sometimes one of the hinges in here will just get a little gummed up or bent and it'll just hang up. But that's it, that's the Remington Rand Noiseless Model 1, affectionately referred to as the Noisy Noiseless. Case and ribbon change, same as the other ones. I will, oops, dang it. I will send you a tutorial if you ask for the other features of changing the ribbon. The ribbon is on a little spool ribbon cord that comes out of there, or you can just hook it in on the eyelet or just with a knot at the end of the ribbon or some other way. Pretty many options to do that with. So thank you. Hope you enjoy your machine. I'll see you on the other side. Thank you so much. This is Steven at Classic Typewriter.